Reps endorse Rivers 2025 budget amid crisis. Lawmakers push for swift payment of pensioners' palliatives. And House of Representatives moves to shield local textile industry from foreign invasion. Always a pleasure to have you with us on You and Your Reps, your weekly link to the pulse of parliamentary proceedings and the people shaping them. I am Victor Azu. Thank you for joining us. In what appears to be a crucial step to stabilize governance in Rivers State, President Bola Tinubu has transmitted the state's 2025 budget proposal of 1.48 trillion naira to the House of Representatives for consideration and approval. Now, lawmakers in the Green Chamber have welcomed the move, describing it as a necessary measure to uphold democratic processes during the ongoing emergency rule.
The current emergency rule in Rivers State leaves no legislative gap, as the National Assembly is constitutionally empowered to legislate for the suspended State Assembly. This informs the President's communication to the House of Representatives for consideration and approval of 1.8 trillion naira budget proposal for Rivers State.
The spending plan priorities investment in critical sectors of the state, such as infrastructure, health, including free drugs for malaria and other common ailments, education, and also agriculture, which is projected to generate approximately 6,000 jobs.
The President has done the right thing because the administrator must spend only appropriated funds.
And of course, for the sole administrator to have a seamless operation, he needs a proper budget. The relevant committees will look at it and come back with their inputs.
Following an urgent motion, the security agencies were urged to swiftly address a resurgence of kidnappings and cattle rustling in the northwest.
This ugly situation may be connected with the recent discovery of gold in the zone. If not urgently and decisively addressed, may escalate and engulf larger part of Kano State, posing severe threat to the safety of citizens.
The House received the report of its Committee on Justice on the need to address withheld bar results and the backlog of students awaiting call to bar. At a public hearing by the House Committee on Industry, proposed amendments to the National Sugar Development Council Act were described as crucial towards a robust sugar master plan.
The President's commitment to being able to have, about a $1 trillion economy, sugar has a big role to play.
It is again a testament to his unwavering commitment to the development not only of the sugar sector but of Nigeria's overall industrialization efforts.
The enactment of this legislation would no doubt enhance competitiveness and increasing the sector's contribution to Nigeria's economy.
The amendments to the National Sugar Development Council Act are also expected to clarify the functions of the council.
Relief may soon come the way of federal pensioners as the House of Representatives sets up an ad hoc committee to fast-track payment of palliative awards approved for them by the Tinubu administration. Now, the resolution followed a motion spotlighting the plight of pensioners who lawmakers say have been left in the cold since the awards were announced in 2023.
Being a federal government's gesture.
Deputy Majority Whip of the House, Ayokunle Isiaka, highlights growing discontent among federal pensioners whose palliative awards are being delayed. In adopting the motion, lawmakers seek investigation and redress.
President Ahmed Tinubu, in October 2023, approved a 25,000 naira wage award, palliative, and additional 32,000 naira pension increase for federal pensioners in Nigeria. All the Federal Ministry of Finance to release all withheld palliative measures and ensure timely disbursement to alleviate the sufferings of pensioners.
How can you keep palliatives from Nigerian people that has been approved
If we do an investigation and we act on it and let some heads roll, that will serve as a deterrent for others. 2 weeks will make sure this motion and the prayers of this motion is implemented so that our pensioners can get what is their due.
In a separate move, an ad hoc committee was constituted to take steps towards the rehabilitation of the Barrow Inland Port in Niger State.
Despite the completion of the Barrow physical infrastructure, development of basic equipment, and its commissioning in 2019, the port remains non-operational due to infrastructural and logistical challenges, including poor access roads.
Lawmakers also seek to investigate the backlog for issuance of driver's license, which was linked to alleged non-remittance of revenues for the process by the Vehicle Inspection Office.
Disturbed that the huge debts the Federal Road Safety Commission owes Galaxy Blackbone Limited and other system consultants who are the network providers and maintainers of the biometric data capturing system are responsible for the system slowdown.
Among legislations that scaled second reading was a constitution alteration bill seeking to establish the Office of State Auditors General for local governments and the FCT area councils.
To strengthen fiscal oversight, promote accountability, and enhance good governance at the grassroots.
The House do consider the reports of the Committee on Treaties, Protocols and Agreements and the Environment on a bid for an act to provide for the conservation and the management of Nigerian wildlife.
11 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the Labour Act Amendment Bill 2025.
And the House of Representatives is pushing for tougher restrictions on the importation of foreign textiles, a move aimed at breathing new life into Nigeria's ailing local textile industry.
A thriving textile industry no doubt will create jobs and boost economic growth, but lawmakers draw attention to the proliferation of foreign textiles in the country, suffocating local manufacturers. They advocate incentives for the textile industry to compete favorably.
The Ministry of Finance, Industry, Trade and Investment and other related agencies to encourage local textiles by providing soft loans, easy access to credit facilities through the Bank of Industries. This motion is referred to the Committees on Industry and Commerce for further legislative action.
Several bills scaled second reading. They include the FCT 2025 budget of 1.78 trillion naira, as well as legislations to establish a national ES center in Abia State and to provide social protection rights for older persons.
Some of these rights include right to freedom from discrimination, right to freedom from abuse, neglect and exploitation, right to health and social services.
To mark this year's World Hypertension Day, medical experts were in plenary to advocate health insurance coverage for hypertension and other non-communicable diseases.
Medications are getting more and more expensive. Most of our patients cannot afford medication. We need to register more people under the health insurance scheme.
In 1990, when we conducted the national survey, there were less than 10% of people between the ages of 18 and 65 who were hypertensive. As at today, 40% of people above the age of 18 are hypertensive.
Motions were also raised on incessant kidnappings in Edo State and the plight of communities ravaged by rainstorm in Delta State.
On these communities of Jedo, Ugbokodo, and Ugoton of Okpe local government area of Delta State, aware that roofs of over 2,000 houses were completely or partially damaged. Hundreds of big buildings were destroyed.
Another group of bandits struck Iviaro community and kidnapped the community leader and killed the spouse. Immediately deployed personnel to Era and Iviaro communities and surrounding areas to restore peace, apprehend the culprits, and forestall further occurrences.
At the Committee of the Whole, reports were considered and approved for the establishment of several health institutions.
And after plenary, we caught up with the man behind the motion, Representative Garba Mohammed, who gave insight into why this push couldn't wait. He represents Gwale Federal Constituency in Kano State.
We are very much aware that after independence in this country, the textile industry was the largest employer of labor. Like I mentioned in the motion, you see that Kano Textile, Kaduna Textile, Ario Textile, Asaba Textile, Aba Textile, United Nigeria Textile, among others. You know, all these are dead today. So there is need for us to revamp these comatose textile industries scattered all over Nigeria so that our youth can get employment, our youth can be employed and earn a living. Now, Nigeria, more or less, we depend solemnly now on imported textiles, imported materials. So it is high time we look within, we bring back those textiles mills so that our cotton farmers can sell the farm product that is cotton to the textiles for production in Nigeria, for consumption in Nigeria, and eventually for export. The cotton can be exported. The cotton can be ginned and made use of that to make clothes in this country. So this is why we are calling on the federal government of Nigeria to find a way of resolving this issue. That is what? First, try to revamp these textile industries. Try to see that there is enough power supply, maybe at some subsidized rate to the textile industry. Even if not at subsidized rate, but steady power supply is key to textile production in this country so that our youth can be gainfully employed. Now we are only giving jobs to the Chinese, who are major exporters of textile into this country. So this is the purpose of this motion. There are a lot of amendments to the prayers, and this shows that my colleagues received it very well. It was well received. There was amendment from some members. That means members took interest in it. So to me, I think it was a very good and timely motion that came up. And actually the House passed it, and it will be passed to the Committee of Industry, Commerce, and other related committees so that they work on it and revert back to the House. So what we expect is that whatever the joint committees come up with, the executive should try to implement it so that we have these industries working back again in Nigeria.
Order in the chamber. It's a phrase that echoes when debates heat up and tempers flare on the floor of the House. But who ensures that order is actually maintained? Who enforces the rules and escorts defaulters when lines are crossed? In this edition of Legislative Terms and Tools, we spotlight the often underappreciated role of the Sergeant-at-Arms. And to help us unpack their duties and significance in parliamentary proceedings, we spoke with Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive.
The term Sergeant-at-Arms referred to, in general terms, the law enforcement officials of the Legislative House. In many cases, they are present at plenary and entry and exit points of the assembly. You know, Sergeant-at-Arms are to maintain decorum, law and order, and where there is, they are to protect the maize and lead the procession of presiding officers to begin a parliamentary meeting or gathering. In many cases, they are also used to escort members who are suspended out of the chamber or out of the premises. But generally their role is to maintain law and order in the presence of a legislative assembly. In the National Assembly here, we have Sergeant at Arms, and we usually have a boss, leader of each chamber. In any chamber, there's a leader who leads the Sergeant at Arms. So he is like the commander or boss. But their business generally is to ensure that unauthorized persons don't get access to the chambers, and that business of the chambers are conducted with decorum. They distribute literature documents during proceedings and ensure that everything is done decently and in order.
As the 10th National Assembly inches towards its halfway mark, the big question is, how well has it delivered? We put that to the chairman of the House Committee on FERMA, Aderemi Oseni, who represents Ibarapa East and the Do Federal Constituency in Oyo State.
This 10th Assembly is the best. We have been involved directly or indirectly before now. But as of today, I am personally involved. There is no organization that can grow beyond its leadership. The success of any organization is a function of the leadership or the capacity of the management. When you look at the leadership structure in the area of the committee in service delivery, I think almost every one of us in the National Assembly, that is the 10th National Assembly in the House, we are all happy with his leadership conduct, the way he works, the way he manages the members, and all the decisions that have been taken so far, at the House level. Two, when you look at our activities, unlike how it used to be, people used to call some house rubber stamp to the executives. But to me, this 10th Assembly, from what Mr. Speaker, who has been the leader of the Assembly, has done so far, so good, is a way of complementing the executive so that the entire country will be able to benefit in the dividends of democracy. In the area of bills, in the area of policies that they were bringing to the National Assembly were gladly received, and we were giving them the support that is needed for the benefit of Nigerians as a whole. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his own sincere attitude, brought student loan idea to the National Assembly. I can tell you the type of support that bill received was an unprecedented one. He brought in the idea of Ministry of Livestock. It was equally giving sufficient support to ensure that livestock is, given the rightful place in the affair of the country. Again, when you look at the issue of oil subsidy, when the oil subsidy that Mr. President took very bold steps that the oil subsidy needed to be removed, people thought the National Assembly would be standing as a barrier to stop that decision. Today, we may not, or we might have not gotten what we expect in the area of oil subsidy, but I can tell you, in the next few years to come, everyone as a Nigerian, You may not like the face of the Mr. President as of today, but I'm sure in the next few years to come, they will all be appreciating the decision that he has taken in the area of oil subsidy. Looking back, I cannot see, and I have never seen the type of the leadership that the Speaker and his team, that is the leadership of the National Assembly, are providing for us as a nation.
That's our package this week on You and Your Reps. We'll keep bringing Parliament closer to the people and your voice closer to the process. I am Victor, as we thank you for watching. See you next time.